Hello everyone, hope all are doing very well. In earlier videos, we have discussed what is cell and that cells are basic structural and functional units in all organisms. Knowing that cell is basic structural unit, that is all the organisms are made up of cells, the question arises that whether there is only single type of cell that form all the organisms or there are multiple types of cells that form the different type of organisms. And if there are more than one type of cells, then what is the difference between different type of cells? Secondly, we have also discussed that cell is basic functional unit. If cell is the basic functional unit of all organisms, then what is the internal organization of the cell that make the cell capable of performing all these functions? So in this video, we will discuss very briefly the different type of cells and what is inside the cell. This is BioPoint. You can ask your doubts in comment section. Do like, share and subscribe if you like the video. First, we will talk about different type of cells. Although there are different type of organisms, but we are very familiar with two types, that is animals and plants. What is the difference between animal and plant cell? In a typical plant cell, for example, in the cell of onion peel, the outer boundary is made by cell wall and just inside the cell wall is plasma membrane. On the other hand, in a typical animal cell, for example, in the cell of human cheek, outer boundary of the cell is made by plasma membrane because animal cells do not have cell wall. Can you remember from the last videos that who was the first to found that plant cells has cell wall while animal cells do not? Was that Schleiden or Chavon? After animal and plant cell, next we have the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. A cell is defined as prokaryotic and eukaryotic on the basis of presence or absence of the nucleus. So, before discussing prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, we must know what is nucleus. Nucleus is a dense structure that is bound by a membrane. Inside nucleus are chromosomes and chromosomes contain genetic material, that is DNA. Nucleus, chromosome and DNA will be discussed in details later in this chapter. Now coming back to prokaryote and eukaryote. The term prokaryotic means before nucleus, that is those cells that do not have nucleus. On the other hand, the term eukaryotic means true nucleus, that is those cells that have nucleus. The organisms that are made up of prokaryotic cells are called prokaryotic organisms, for example bacteria, and the organisms that are composed of eukaryotic cells are called eukaryotes. Here we have one important point that all the prokaryotic organisms are unicellular and are classified under kingdom Monera during classification of living organisms. Or in other words, kingdom Monera include all the unicellular prokaryotic organisms. Now, to compile this all, there are two types of cells on the basis of presence or absence of nucleus, that is prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Both plant and animals are composed of eukaryotic cells, but plant cells have cell wall while animal cells do not have cell wall. Proceeding further, we will discuss what is inside cell. As we know, there are two major type of cells, that is prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Although both have significantly different internal organization, but still there are some similarities. Both eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells are bound by a membrane that is commonly called as plasma membrane. And in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, a semi-fluid matrix called cytoplasm occupies the whole volume of the cell. So, plasma membrane and cytoplasm are present in all cells, and cytoplasm is the area of the cell where all the cellular activities takes place. Inside cytoplasm are the organelles. But what are the organelles? Like our body, have organs that perform digestion, respiration, and other important functions for the body. In a similar manner, cell has different organelles that perform digestion, respiration, and other important functions for the cell. That is why we call cell as the functional unit of all the organisms. Now, these organelles can be membrane bound or non-membrane bound. The membrane bound organelles are enveloped by a membrane like we discussed in the case of nucleus. Now, what is the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell? The cytoplasm of eukaryotic cell has both membrane and non-membrane bound organelles, while cytoplasm of prokaryotic cell has only non-membrane bound organelles. But it doesn't mean that all the non-membrane bound organelles are essentially present in prokaryotic cell. There are some non-membrane bound organelles that are present only in eukaryotic cell and not in prokaryotic cell. The membrane bound organelles include endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome, mitochondria, nucleus, microbodies, vacuoles. Along with these membrane bound organelles, there is another membrane bound organelle, that is plastids, that is present only in plant cell and not in animal cells. The non-membrane bound organelles include ribosomes and centrosomes. Ribosomes are present in all the type of cells, that is eukaryotic cell, prokaryotic cell, animal cell, plant cell. And centrosomes are the non-membrane bound organelles that are present only in animal cells and not in plant cells or prokaryotic cells.